And away we go. It's just me at the moment. Eric says he will be on his way home and will join momentarily. Not sure about risk, as always. However, that is life. And that is, well, that's how it was, and how it is. So, on with the news. UK risks more extreme, prolonged heat waves in future. The Met Office has warned of month-long heat waves of temperatures of 40 degrees Celsius or more as the risk of extreme heat rises. The likelihood of temperatures hitting 40 degrees Celsius has increased more than 20 times since 1960s and has almost trebled since 2000, as shown by a study published in Weather Journal. These findings emphasize the need for preparing and planning for rising temperatures to protect public health, infrastructure, and the environment from extreme heat. Okay, let me just look up something real quick. Although it's important that we keep ourselves cool in such circumstances like this. Okay, so I'm looking up my phone's weather app. Averages. As of this recording, today's temperature is 24 degrees Celsius, and the averages graphs show that it is 7 degrees hotter above average. Average high is 17 degrees Celsius. 24 degrees today's high. Right, okay. That makes more sense. I will say this. This isn't the first time that hot weather has been brought upon the United Kingdom, nor is it the first time that hot weather has happened anywhere in the world. Even the coldest regions at times have gotten much hotter weathers, although not scorching hot, but at least much hotter than average. They're trying to say that, oh, there's a risk, we gotta be careful. Like, okay, and what do you suggest we do? All we can do is drink water, exercise a decent amount each day, and, well, have a balanced diet, or just at least eat something nutritiously healthy. It's not end of the world, you know? No one's gonna die from extreme heat. Well, unless they don't, well, if they don't drink enough water, that is, because our body's mostly made of it. I've heard this story time and time again. Although we should be cautious, we cannot lose our minds and be subdued to fear-mongering. Now, not to say that there are people trying to scare us about the potential harms of extreme heat, but there are some people making it out as if it's the first time it's happened. It's not. The report has said that this has happened before. Like, I think summer of 2003, temperatures got around roughly up to high 30 degrees Celsius, close to 40. It's not exact, but it's close enough to be one of the hottest days ever recorded in UK weather history. So yes, there is going to be hotter temperatures in the next few days as of this recording, but so what? It's not like we're going to die. We've been through this before, and we know exactly what to do. That's just me. If there are people that want to bring urgency and raise awareness for high temperatures, they can do that. But just know that not everyone is going to be as highly cautious as some people reporting the story think they would perceive the story. Fed holds key rate steady, still sees 2 more cuts this year. The Federal Reserve kept its key interest rate steady at 4.25% to 4.5% after the June 17-18 meeting amid ongoing geopolitical and trade uncertainties. Officials maintained this stance due to mixed economic signals, including slower growth prospects and elevated inflation risks linked to tariffs and Middle East tensions. Housing starts dropped 9.8% from April to May to 1.26 million, the lowest since May 2020, while mortgage rates eased slightly to an average 6.81 last week. Market participants widely expected no rate change, with nearly 100% predicting the Fed to hold. While some experts noted the need to assess inflation and labor data carefully. The Fed's projections indicate potential for 2 rate cuts later this year, but officials emphasize patience as they monitor evolving economic and global conditions. Now, I got a question. What if the United States Army, or whoever high officials in the United States, they weren't making a fuss of what goes on in the Middle East? What would the rates be like now? Because the thing is, to say there's going to be a change in whatever federal rates or taxations, or at least any change to anything that surrounds us, what we pay, what we consume, it comes down to global events, and such global events such as conflicts. Here's my Apple Watch saying, activating Siri. Anyway, global conflicts, geopolitical tensions, world leaders through and froing, saying that if you do this, I'll do that, and you'll be screwed for good. At best, it only benefits those who were aware that this was going to happen. Because if everything is unpredictable, then all those men or women on top, they will lose out on huge amounts of money. And that's just sad. It's true, but sad. Even when we do put an end to all this conflict or media theatrics or whatever people are talking about these days that will have an impact on national economies, there will be another system put in place to get people hooked up, distract people from whatever other important thing is going on. People are drawn into fascinations of the world that is today. Now, that may sound like I'm saying a lot of waffle. However, it's important to note that whatever we see in the news, although it is true, there will be a few amount of people that may add or maybe change a couple words and may not completely change the narrative, but they will kind of rephrase the story in a way to the point that the story is made out to be talking about something else. It can come to that point. Surely, no news outlet can outright lie and get away with it. That is not possible. But they can rephrase how they talk about the story. And they can rephrase how they talk about stories to the point that the story is not even about the issue at question, but how, or maybe when, or maybe where it's possible. Whatever the story is made out to be is down to those who write it. It's down to the news outlets writing the story, and whatever their readers are interested in looking at. But that's how it works. And anyone that tells you otherwise, I suggest you question them on that. Whatever they say, question them as much as you can. Get a clear understanding, because there's going to be a few people that may think they know exactly what they're talking about, but that's because no one has even dared to question them to begin with. By the time you question them, then that's when they really start to think, what on earth is going on? What have I been believing in all this time? Now, not to say we should be skeptical, not to just deny everything, but at least give a few minutes to think about the situation at hand, because there is more to what is being told, and it's advised that people do their own research beyond what they have previously read. That is just me, and now I'll be looking for another story to look up. ESA's Proba 3 creates first artificial solar eclipse in space. In December 2024, the European Space Agency's Proba 3 mission was launched aboard a PSLV-XL rocket from the launch facility located in Satish Dhawan in India to simulate solar eclipses in space. This mission follows solar orbiter's earlier discovery of the sun's poles and aims to overcome the rarity and short duration of natural solar eclipses by using two satellites flying 150 meters apart. Probus 3's twin satellites, the auscultor and the chronograph, performed millimeter precision maneuvers to align and block the sun's disk, revealing the corona in unprecedented detail. Damian Golano expressed great satisfaction with the clarity of the images captured, noting that the mission has successfully completed 10 artificial eclipses and is targeting totality periods lasting up to 6 hours. The mission will provide continuous, high-resolution monitoring of the sun's outer atmosphere, enhancing knowledge of the streams of charged particles and large expulsions of plasma that influence space weather and conditions on Earth. Artificial eclipses. And how is it any different to the eclipses that we've always seen every few years, depending on where we live around the world? Now, of course, Eric is going to say something along the lines of, I'm not sure if space is space. I'm not sure if space is real, if people can escape the firmament, although I can't argue with that. But we must ask ourselves, what is the difference, and why now are we hearing about creating artificial eclipses? Now, although I'm reading this article about solar eclipses artificially created, but how many news sources are talking about it? There's at least 19, maybe a couple hundred talking about this. But not everyone are reading the same news source. Well, anyway, back to the story. I am curious to see what an artificial eclipse looks like, and how is it different to a naturally lunar or solar eclipse. What does it take? They say that they've created it, but what does it take besides a couple of probes or rockets and a couple of satellite dishes? And how big are the satellites in question that makes these eclipses? We may not hear about this in the next few years, not even into the next decade, but whatever comes out about this, people aren't going to know until it's too late. So look up into space and how it operates before anything comes out. Because it's important that we understand our surroundings, even if it is out of clear sight. Memes flood social media as Trump to host Pakistan's Azim Munir at White House for backing Nobel Peace Prize bid. Memes have taken over the internet, with Donald Trump meeting Pakistan Field Marshal Asim Munir. Bollywood masala is currently the main source of the outpour of memes related to the Trump-Munir meeting. Okay, I want to see more about this. Munir credited Trump with preventing what could have been a nuclear war between India and Pakistan during their brief military standoff in May. White House spokesperson Anna Kelly said. The White House confirmed that the meeting was held in recognition of Munir's remarks, lauding Trump's role in halting a potential escalation between the two nuclear-armed neighbors. Just hours before the meeting, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a 35-minute phone call with Trump to firmly clarify that the ceasefire following the May 7th to May 10th military standoff had been achieved through direct communication between the Indian and Pakistani militaries, not through any external mediation. Okay, so long as there aren't any violence, then that's good enough for me, because the last thing we want is people driving their tanks, blowing crap up, and people are apparently unalive for trying to defend their nations. Although honorable, but it should never have happened to begin with. There shouldn't have been any involvement of other military powers to begin with, because once external military powers get involved, the side in question becomes reliant on their firepower. And once they pull out for whatever reason, what happens to the side in question? They got nothing, at best very minimal, and then the opposing side comes with the win. Hello, Eric.
Hey, what's up? Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, cool. Because I got new headphones and I was just wondering. But
All
yeah,
right.
what's going on?
Uh,
No,
I was
I mean, like, what's in the news? Like, what are you talking
I was reading about a ceasefire between India and Pakistan, and said that there was a phone call between Modi and Trump about the ceasefire, and nothing else was the reason behind the ceasefire between India and Pakistan being put in place.
about? So pretty much they have a ceasefire and like there was just nothing else, like on why they wanted a ceasefire.
Well, I was reading a report saying that there was. I have to read the whole thing again, but that was my that was my rough understanding.
Okay, yeah.
There was an escalation between India and Pakistan regarding the Jammu Kashmir region, and regarding whatever tensions between the two nations. They have a ceasefire. They say that a ceasefire in place, but it's down to the fact that there was involvement with Trump, with him talking to Modi to ensure that neither India or Pakistan, well, continues any military escalation between the two, because that's the
So
last thing we want.
pretty much Trump is just like practically the middleman in all this.
Yeah, they said that Trump has been the middleman in like preventing any other involvements or escalation between India and Pakistan.
I see. Okay, okay. I'm not gonna lie. Everything seems to be involving Trump a lot. Like,
Yes,
why?
he's all over the place.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like this this is like people didn't want this. People just wanted Trump to worry about our our country, and I'm pretty sure there are some Republicans who are regretting their vote. To be honest, some of them are still happy about it, but others are just like kind of regretting their vote now. But it ultimately is what it is. So you know we have them
Was
for
what it was.
yeah we have them for like 4 years. So might as well get used to it. Not that this was kind of happening before, but yeah, just get used to it because we have to deal with this for like the next couple of years. But all right, I didn't vote, so I don't really care. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
The UCO finds a document that reveals that Sirdan owned 45% of one of the main companies in the alleged plot.
Okay, let's hear more about that.
The Central Operational Unit of the Civil Guard found in the register of the domicile of Fozeba Anshon Alonso Rola a document that reveals that the former secretary of organization of the PSOE, Santos Sirdan, owned 45% of Sarvinabar, one of the main companies linked to the alleged plot of public works rigs. In the report of the records carried out last week in different houses and companies, the UCO specifies that in the Alonso Alguerva's house, and it just cut off during the search conducted last Tuesday on Mr. Mantion Alonso. The Civil Guard found a 2016 deed in which Santos Cerdan acquired almost half of the shares in a company identified in its latest report on alleged irregularities in public procurements contracts. This is Savina Bar 2000, managed by Anton Alonso, who the Central Operative Unit of the Civil Guard suspects may have paid considerations to former Minister Jose Luis Abalos, and his former advisor, Coldo Garcia, who had implicated the latter in payments to former socialist leader Santos Cerdan.
Uh, whatever is going on. Um, I hope whatever is going on it gets resolved in the best possible way. Because this could be bad for like one or the other person. I don't really have much of an opinion about it, but I will say this: something just has to get done ultimately to like just resolve this whole problem that's going on. Yeah, like yeah,
Well, I don't have much of a strong opinion, not just because this is the first time I'm hearing this story, but of course, think if there are stories that not many people are talking about, surely there aren't going to be much people knowing about these stories. Like, from, and this is just me, from what I've just read, I feel like, actually, no, I'm not going to get into that, because, again, this is the first time I'm hearing this story, but I feel like there could be more development as it goes on. And, well, the truth is, the story in question may not ring a lot of bells for a lot of people, except for people that live in whatever country that the story is being reported on, or whoever is closely related to the men in question. So, just another story that, unfortunately, not many people are going to know about, because there are elements, there are aspects to a news story that doesn't ring the bells, and the name recognition is not there. It's unfortunate that I have to say this, but that's just how the world goes about every now and then.
well, yeah, I 100% agree. Like, yeah, I 100% agree. This story is definitely it's not going to be one of those big stories. Because at the end of the day, the name recognition is not there. I mean, but you know, that's what we're, oh, that's what we're here for, to report the stories that are not 100% recognized or does not have that much news coverage in the slightest whatsoever. That's what we're here for. So that's what other people are here for, but mainly us. But yeah, this story is probably not never going to see the light of day. And if it does see the light of day, it's probably going to be reported probably 50 years later. Or, the shortest 10 years later. I don't know. For some odd reason, we've just been reporting, like, some of the stories some of the stories we're reading. Yeah, it's like, some of them are just very old. Like, for instance, like, when you reported on that free story that happened like decades ago, and it's just now, and it seems like, I don't know if it saw the light of day back in that time, but for some reason it got somewhere in the news in the big 2025. So
Yes.
yeah, like, about, yeah. So it's like, hey, that's what we're here for, to report like the old stories, the new stories. Well, maybe not the old stories. And if we do report the old stories, we're gonna like specifically say what year it's from. But yeah, it's like, the old stories, the new stories, or just the popular stories and the unpopular stories. But yeah, you know, it's just how the world works. Some people have like an agenda spread, and some people don't want to hear certain stories or want certain stories to see the light of day because they're afraid of what people will do or think. And ultimately speaking, it just is what it is.
It was what it was.
Exactly. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
OpenAI says Meta is trying to poach staff with $100 million sign-on offers.
$100 million. I don't know. That's pretty good. Pretty
Yes, it
good.
is.
But let's try to hear more about that.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman said on the Uncapped podcast on Tuesday that Meta offered $100 million signing bonuses to his top AI staff, but none have left. This talent competition follows Meta's efforts to recruit from OpenAI and Google DeepMind as it builds a new AI superintelligence team led by Alexander Wang. Meta delayed its latest flagship AI model, Amid capability concerns, while OpenAI plans to release an OpenAI model soon and explores AI-powered social media apps. Reports show Meta offers compensation well above $100 million per year, aiming to rival OpenAI's culture focused on innovation and achieving artificial general intelligence.
So we've said this before and we'll say it again. AI technology is ever growing, it's getting ever better. Ultimately, one, I want to say this. You know, with an offer like with a silent offer like that, you would make someone a rich individual within the day, them just working. I mean, hey, that's life changing money right there. First off, I'm gonna say that. Second off, yeah, it's like AI is like ever changing. It's always going to change. And it's always going to get. It's just going to get better and better and better. Or who knows? They might have a year where they get worse and worse and worse, or just just insufferable. But AI is clearly here to stay. I'm not going to get into the whole. It might have been here for years. That's not the point. The point is like AI is going to be here for the long run. And who knows? Like maybe in the next couple of years, it might not even be called AI anymore. They might completely change the name to something else. But it's it's an essential tool for us now to look up things. Shoot, I admit I use AI too to like look up certain things that I would not feel like searching for articles to look up um in regards to like different types of faiths or just like history like you know slavery and all that stuff. Like with the AI, it makes it really easy, but it ultimately just depends on how you use it. It depends on like who truly has that power, who truly does own, who how you'll use AI for like the better of not only making yourself smarter, but also like the bettering of society. And ultimately speaking, yeah, it's just going to be one of those type of like deals like that. But ultimately speaking, yeah, I still believe you should rely on some old things because old things there are old things that like never go out of fashion. Like for instance, like working with your hands and just like working in general. Those type of things never go out of fashion. Yeah, you use AI to make your life easier, like to make searching up things easier. You can do your homework easier if anybody has it. Right? Ultimately speaking, yeah, it's like AI is here to stay, and it's only going to get better. But yeah, is there anything else I need to do?
Doctors perform first robotic heart transplant in US without opening a chest.
Wait, without opening a chest?
Yeah.
Huh, that's actually kind of amazing. Let's hear more about that.
Surgeons in Houston performed the first fully robotic heart transplant in United States history. Medical experts say the procedure does not require the chest to be opened and reduces recovery time. Doctors are hailing the procedure as a groundbreaking surgery that may be the future of medical procedures.
And all electronic, like heart procedure, and it doesn't even require you to open your chest.
Apparently not.
I personally would not know how that's possible. I'm just wondering, how do they repair the heart? How do they fix the heart if they're not actively cutting open your chest and opening it? I mean, the good part about it is that it's less of a mess, but how are they actively like actually?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would need to learn more about that. Which is like I don't know. If I would hope in my lifetime I would never have to need heart surgery. But if I needed heart surgery, how would that even work? How would you like fix my heart just by not opening my chest? But yeah, like what do you think about that?
Well, if it's possible and it can be done, that's great. It's nice to see there's progress in the medical sector.
Yeah, honestly, like yeah, it's always nice to see like progress and like stuff like that happen. But yeah, I would like to learn, if possible, I would like to learn more about that and how it actually works. I mean, I'm just wondering, do they like still take the heart out of your body? Like, do they like not still take the heart out of your body? Like, do they take the heart out of your body and
I
put it
think
back?
they would have to, but just looking at details of the story, I think there is a robotic arm that is involved with this surgery.
Because I know they don't put it down the patient's throats and
Oh
just
no, of
like
course not. That would be very uncomfortable.
I think that'd be 10 times. I think that'd probably be 10 times worse than just like opening your chest. But yeah, it's like it definitely is a interesting thing to discover. Because well, yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna be honest, man. It's amazing. It's just amazing. But you have to ask some questions before you were to agree that if you needed heart surgery, before you were to agree that you would want your heart opened like that, and you would want something like that to occur. I would say yeah, it's definitely questionable, but at the same time, it would make a medical procedure so much easier. Which begs the main question: will this eventually replace the real doctors? Like you know, this technology would be so great that there would be no real need for like human doctors. It's just like all robotic and all that good stuff. I guess I shouldn't think that far ahead. At least people still. At least I mean I should think that far ahead,
That's
but it's like
true.
I mean I think the people in that profession should somewhat think that. But I'd say as long as you have a plan to like kind of you know not fully rely on that, and I say you're good. Like for instance, like if you were to lose your job tomorrow, you'll be like okay, that's fine, because you'll have something else to lean on. Whether if you have your own property, you don't have to pay any, and you no longer have to like really pay it off or anything like that, or whether if you just, I don't know, just anything really. But ultimately speaking, it is about perspective in a way, and well, yeah, if people aren't going to think about that, then that's fine. But I don't know, as technology's getting better and better and better, I tend to think about that. I do. It's worrying, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be that worrying. But yeah, ultimately, we're going to see how far this technology goes. Hopefully, no fatal accidents occur during these life-changing surgeries. And yeah, I just hope and pray that everyone is safe during those times.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
yeah, but yeah, is there anything else in the news?
Are you ready for this?
Is it good or bad?
It is getting, yes,
Okay,
very, very tiring.
all right, let's hear it. What is it?
Alright, Trump extends TikTok sale deadline for the third time.
Of course he did.
Of course he did.
Man, this dude, he extends it. Wait, it's been 90 days already? Or,
Yes,
sorry,
it's been another 90 days.
it's like yesterday he just announced that he's going to extend it for another 90 days. Bro, this man really wants TikTok, huh? China is not budging.
Or it's just stalling everyone.
China is not budging, man. Bro, dang, China really doesn't want to sell off TikTok. That's tough. It
That's
is
very
tough.
tough.
Yeah, man. I will say this, ultimately speaking. Hold on, I'm gonna get a fake that upstairs real quick.
Okay.
Yo, oh, okay. I don't know why it's like in my hallway. I don't know why it's like the Wi-Fi completely just turned, like the connection just completely turns to crap. But yeah, like I was saying, man, it's a hot day today. I need a fan. Jeez. All right, what was I saying? Right.
We were talking about Trump extending the TikTok deadline. Again.
Oh yeah, Trump. This man really wants TikTok. He is so desperate for it. I'm not gonna lie. Eventually, he's gonna have to stop extending it because at this point,
It's just getting old.
it is getting old, but also it's making him look desperate.
Yes.
I'm
Or
gonna
at
be
least
honest.
it shows that people at TikTok themselves, they're really committed to saying, we're not selling ourselves out to anyone. Not
Bro, just
Americans or anyone else.
exactly. They're at least. I'll give China this, man. They're committed to it. They're committed to keeping their ass. They're not selling out to anybody. Which, like, I'll be honest. If after this extension, bro, just let China stay in the United States with TikTok. No one. I'm not gonna lie. Most people don't even seem to care that their information is going to China. Like the majority of people don't even seem to care about that. Which, look, man, if you want your information to go to China, fine. I'm not on TikTok. I would download it for like if I had like a business or whatever, and I'm not gonna lie, I wouldn't be the one operating it unless I had to. But you know, like if I had someone specifically, like if I was an influencer of some sort, or if I was well known on the internet and I needed TikTok, I would just have someone do it for me, like make the clips, put it on TikTok, and just yeah, that's what I would do. But yeah, other than that, man, it's like you just gotta. I'm not gonna lie, bro. You just gotta. You gotta. He has to throw in the towel at some point. Trump. It's like, all right, you can stay in the United States and just, I don't know, like he probably has to completely compromise something. I don't know, maybe like I don't know, compromise, like try to like just say get half of TikTok or something like that. He has to compromise somehow because like China doesn't seem to be budging at all.
Well,
And
what if I told you that people running ByteDance or, well, people who own ByteDance or TikTok aren't just fully Chinese. Like, there are a couple Americans that are that have shares in ByteDance, which is also the parent company of TikTok. I think that was from a TikTok video many months ago, like when we first heard about reaching the deadline, when people thought, "Oh my gosh, TikTok in the US is gonna be gone for good," and then realized, "Bugger, what have we done?"
I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. I just would not be surprised.
Neither would I.
Yeah, ultimately, it's always gonna be something like that. You just can't be surprised about these things anymore. I remember when we used to be surprised about these things. Now we just kind of expect it to happen. It's like, all right, whatever. I'm not shocked.
It's so predictable now. Like when someone says something is possibly gonna happen, it happens. And it's like, okay, and we just move on with our lives.
Yeah, it's not shocking. It's not new. It's just whatever
We've seen this story before.
we have. And Trump, stop extending it. Don't look, don't look pathetic and weak. You're the president. Don't look pathetic and weak. That's the reason why people trust you because you're. That's the reason why people trust you because you don't look pathetic and weak. Don't. I'll let it slide if he does it a fourth time, but if he does it a fifth time, bro, it's like, come on, Trump. And at some point, you have to just give up. You have to swallow your pride and give up. Just let China be here without buying them, without letting, without offering to buy their company. Just let them be. That's all you have to do. You say the story isn't new. It's old. It's extremely old, and this is the third time that Trump is attempting this. That Trump is extending it. Bro, you might as well just let them stay in the United States. Don't even extend it. Let them stay, and if you can come up with a deal somehow, then shoot, fine. But stop extending it. After like the fourth or fifth time, stop it. But you know, obviously, China has like some things that like they don't want Trump to have. So, bro, either ban the app or just let them stay. I'm sure a lot of people will be
But
pissed.
something has to be done.
Something has to be done. Come in. Sorry, my dogs just came back. But anyways, yeah. Is there anything else in the news?
Illinois teacher indicted on 52 additional charges in student sexual abuse case.
Oh, wow, that is unfortunate. And I'm assuming this is a male individual, or
A former teacher, Christina Fomella,
okay. That's new. It's a woman. Okay.
is facing 52 additional charges related to sexual abuse of a student, according to the DuPage County State's Attorney's Office. The alleged abuse spanned from January 2023 to August or September 2024, involving sexual acts at least 50 times, including 45 times at school. Formella is charged with 20 counts of criminal sexual assault, 20 counts of aggravated criminal sexual abuse, 6 counts of indecent solicitation of a child, and 6 counts of grooming. The DuPage County State's Attorney Office stated that the new allegations are beyond disturbing.
Yeah, I bet that is beyond disturbing. I mean, 5 times at school is crazy though. I'm not gonna lie. How did she or that other student not get caught? How old,
That
does it say how old the woman is? I assume she's in her 30s.
the summary doesn't say the age, but I think individual news sources might.
Okay, that's fine. We don't really need the age. The point is she's a teacher. 45 times is crazy, man. And
At school, like
at, at school,
how until now she had not been caught.
how did she get caught the 50th time? Did someone finally see her and the student? Like, bro, I will say this. I mean, the student, he's probably okay. If he, how do I say this? The student, like, if he was all in for it, he probably feels like the man. But the teacher is going to jail. And the teacher's just
Oh
going
yeah,
to, yeah, the student, if he was all in for it, because I know there are some students who male students who would not want that to happen to them. I know that. And if the student was all in for it, he's probably popular. He probably feels just like the man, but like the teacher is going to jail, rightfully so, because of what she's done. And yeah, it's like this type of stuff is very unfortunate. It's sick. Like 45 times at school, really? Like, come on, man. Like, come on. I can't even say have some decency because it's like it was with a student, an underage student. You know, she'll get she's gonna serve it. She's gonna serve some time, and she's gonna have a lot to think. She's gonna have a lot to think about. Um, as she's serving her time in jail. And, I'll be honest. People write this off as like, okay, the student liked it, or like, the student was all in for it, or like, but it's like, and also because she's a woman, and I feel like most of the time dudes get like, penalized for that type of stuff. Like we tend to forget that like, women can be sexual predators as well. We tend to forget that at times. So justice. So it's all up to the justice system now. The other side, and she's probably gonna spend like a couple of years in prison and have to register as a sex offender 50 times. But alright, let's move on. Is there anything else in the news?
Tropical storm Eric forms near southern Mexico, National Hurricane Center says.
Interesting. Let's hear more about that.
Tropical storm Eric formed in the eastern Pacific near southern Mexico. Yes, ERIC.
Oh, man, they're just naming storms. They're just naming storms and hurricanes anything at this point, huh?
Yes,
Tropical storm. Well, at least it's tropical. Tropical storm Eric. Okay, let's hear more.
yes, formed in the eastern Pacific near southern Mexico on Tuesday and is forecast to strengthen rapidly into a hurricane by Wednesday afternoon. Eric developed due to warm waters and favorable upper-level winds, marking the fifth named storm this season, arriving earlier than the July 23rd historical average. Tropical Storm Eric is forecast to reach southern Mexico by Wednesday night, intensifying into a Category 2 hurricane, with winds up to 100 miles per hour, and bringing heavy rainfall and strong winds to the states of Oaxaca, and Guerrero. Rainfall amounts between 8 and 16 inches, with isolated areas receiving as much as 20 inches, may lead to dangerous flash floods and mudslides. Meanwhile, hurricane watches have been issued for the coastline stretching from Punta Maldonado to San Agustin. NOAA urges assembling disaster supplies and updating insurance early because Eric's impacts could include flooding, mudslides, and dangerous surf conditions in southern Mexico.
Well, all I'm gonna say is this: I hope that whoever's affected by that is safe or remain safe and sound, and I hope anybody who gets hurt, who who has been affected by it has not either been, you know, hurt very badly or let alone killed, because ultimately speaking, a storm like this can be a very serious thing. A storm in general, I don't get why they keep naming these storms like regular names, but I don't know why they keep naming these storms like regular names. Uh, I guess it's just to kind of keep. I guess to kind of like make. I'm not sure if it's to make it a bit lighthearted, to make the storm not sound as bad as it is. But I'm pretty sure. I'm 100% certain that it's all just the same storm, just going to different places. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, it might be smooth. It might be worse. It might be worse than like the last storm. I personally don't get these names, but on top of that, who names these storms? I actually want to know who orchestrates the name. Who says, hmm, who thinks of these names? It's like, we're gonna call this storm Eric. We're gonna call this storm Matthew.
Most likely the same people watching them.
Yeah, my mom just laughed at that. And my mom just laughed at what I said. But yeah, it's like, who's thinking of these names? You said most likely the people watching them.
Yeah, because like who else could be naming these storms and make headlines about storm blank reaching the US or Mexico, wherever?
What's next? Hurricane Matthew or Tropical Storm Matthew?
Who knows? Only time will tell.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like, I'll be honest. What happened to Hurricane Sandy? Where did she go?
Well, she certainly made an impact.
Yeah, it's like it's one thing to name a few storms, but it's like once you're naming like every storm something, it's like it doesn't seem that special. Like whatever happened to Hurricane Sandy? Has she just disappeared out of nowhere?
I guess so.
I'll be honest. I feel like I haven't heard that name in a while. Also, how are you? How do they know these what these storms are? Is it based on the impact, or do they just name it to be? I assume they do. I assume they name these storms just put a fun spin on it, or just seem as bad as it is.
Yeah.
But who knows what goes through these people's heads on why they name these storms? But yeah. Anyways, is there anything else?
Brazil auctions off several Amazon oil sites despite environmentalists and indigenous protests.
Brazil really did that after all the hard work those people have done protesting. You're telling me that reluctantly reluctantly didn't listen to us because we were screaming and shouting? Is
I
that what
guess
you're?
so.
Uh, what about power to the people, huh? What about the voice of the people?
Well, apparently they don't give a damn.
What? Well, I'm gonna complain on social media. I'm gonna Twitter that, or I'm gonna X that, and I'm going to dislike anybody. I'm gonna dislike and block anybody who disagrees with it.
Oh yeah, they'll really tremble in their knees for sure.
Oh yeah, no, no. Then I'm going to tweet to the official Brazilian government, like, you see this Brazilian government, huh? I just got this many likes. Now you have to do something about it. And I'm going to tweet my discomfort for the people who are hurting my feelings because I feel so strongly about this. I'm going to say because I didn't do anything. I'm a better person than you because I'm doing this. But in all seriousness, though, like most people do have a superiority complex like that. I'm not saying it's everybody. I'm not saying it's everybody, but some people use their beliefs as an excuse to have a superiority complex. So, you know, but yeah, you're right though. They definitely did not care. That protest did absolutely nothing. I'm not saying all protests are useless, but the majority of them are. I
And
feel like
most of
it's
them don't have like a plan that what happens afterwards. I don't not it's not often that if people are raising awareness for a cause, all they think it's about is just getting a couple of signs, walking down the streets, and yelling some chants that radiates the message of the cause. It's not enough these days. It may have worked a couple of decades ago, but times have changed. We have the internet, technology. Why aren't protesters using technology to spread awareness of the cause?
no, some of them are. Most, some of them aren't. I think it just depends on who's orchestrating this protest. or if they're tech savvy, with the times. Hip. Do people even still say hip? Probably not. Nah, I
Not
guess
a lot of people.
not a lot of people. Nah, some do. Like just to kind of say, like, just to kind of get the point across that, like, this is something is in or something is out or something like that, or I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, it's like some people who are just like with the times and like are just generally able to just kind of adapt. Whether if they're older or like or whether if they're older or just like younger. But it is what it is.
And it was what it was.
Exactly. Is there anything else in the news?
Texas Instruments to invest more than $60 billion to make semiconductors in the United States.
Oh, okay. Let's hear more about that.
Texas Instruments will invest over $60 billion to expand its U.S. manufacturing footprint into the company. The investment will build or expand 7 chip-making facilities, creating 60,000 jobs, as stated by Texas Instruments. Texas Instruments aims to strengthen the domestic supply chain and increase United States chip production. Construction for 2 new factories in Sherman will start based on business demand, as announced by Texas Instruments.
Very, very interesting and intriguing. Very, very interesting. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, usually I would say that I'm glad that the United States are prioritizing domestic chip production within their own country. However, one company expanding its production within the US, it's not enough. If if it gets to a point that domestic chip production in the United States outnumber other countries to the point they don't need to export pre-made chips from other countries, that's when you know that the United States have achieved independence from at least exporting goods or services from a particular industry or sector. But hey, it's not much. It's not enough to at least be independent of exporting from other countries, but it is a start.
Yeah, like I 100% agree with you. It's definitely a start in the right direction, and I think that's what most people should achieve. Most people should achieve some form of independence, but ultimately speaking, yeah, it's cool to get some things. But like I think our country and other countries achieve some form of independence in terms of like resources, in terms of like what they should have in their own country. Because ultimately speaking, you don't want to always rely on someone unless you plan on having an extremely good relationship with that country for years to come, and not sever that in the slightest. But if it's for the short term, probably for a couple of years until you're able to achieve independence, then sure, fine. Short term relationship, but still don't sever any bonds, even when you separate from them, because ultimately speaking, you may or may not need them in the future again. But it's just really all about how you perceive things, and it's just really all about perspective. And it's also all it's just like it's just all a business at the end of the day, and you have to compromise to a degree in order to be it, and like also just be able to work with people in achieving each other's goals in the long run. But
Very true.
yeah, that's how I see things. But yeah, is there anything else in the news?
That is us.
All right, peace.
Peace.